How y'all doing, y'all? I'm just kidding. This is Unique Sadiq, and today I'm going to be doing a review on Underground, Season 2, Episode 7. You guys will notice that as I'm doing this review, I look down at my laptop. Don't let that distract you. I just have some of my notes on there. So let's go ahead and get into the video. So first of all, the episode opens up with Daniel's character teaching the other slaves how to read, and then suddenly it comes to a halt because the slave masters catch them and break it up. Now, while I enjoyed watching this scene and it was very action-packed, I'm kind of left confused, wondering what Daniel's role is in the whole scheme of just the series as a whole. I feel like we have yet to see him make a connection with any of the other characters in the series, and I'm still trying to figure out how his storyline will connect to the other storylines, because I doubt that they would keep his storyline separate from the others. It wouldn't make sense just to bring a random new character into the story without connecting it to the original characters. So I'm just kind of hoping that plot will evolve a little more. We can figure out basically like what he's doing there. Then after that, it cuts to a scene of Kato being tortured by, what's her name, Patty. And I mean, they're beating the crap out of this guy. They put a stocking on his head and then pour water all over it. And then, as a final resort, she shaves off his eyebrows. And then she says she does this because if he looks like others, then they'll be able to gain his trust. And then she reveals to him that she wants him to go out and catch other slaves, and that if he does not, then he will be subject to bondage again, and his girlfriend will be subject to bondage again. So of course he complies reluctantly and goes along with it. But at this point, honestly, y'all, I'm just feeling kind of sorry for Kato. I'm trying to figure out why he's always in a position where he's given false power. Like, he has it, but he doesn't really have it. You know, even in season 1, he was an overseer. He was an overseer. He was responsible for other slaves, but he himself wasn't free either. He was still owned by someone. And even now, he's escaping slavery just to possibly be put back in bondage. And so even though Kato is like the resident villain of the show, there's something in me that still wants him to win, because I feel like Kato is not this rotten person that everybody wants him to believe. He does have a vulnerability about him that he sometimes chooses to cover up. And I can understand that when you're growing up in a life of slavery and bondage, you can't really be too vulnerable. It'll definitely be used against you. But I'm just hoping that Kato has a plan underneath all this to kind of one up Patty and be able to rescue himself, rescue his girlfriend, and rescue all the other slaves that have been captured. I don't want to believe that he's going to be overpowered by someone. Kato has always proven himself to be very witty and very smart and cunning, and I'm sure he has something up his sleeve. We just got to wait for it. So let's see what happens next. Then it cuts to a scene. I know that was right. Then it cuts to a scene of Clara having sex with the slave master. Now, this scene disturbed me for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I feel like her motives for having sex with him were not just to gain control of him. I feel like on some level she just wanted some sort of acceptance from him. Just kind of like, wanting the white man to love you, to like you, whatever the case may be. Just a mentality that some slaves, had back then. And then the second reason why it disturbed me so much is because I knew that her sleeping with him would backfire in terms of getting Ernestine off the island, which was the original plan. I knew it was going to backfire some way, somehow, you guys. I knew it was going to backfire. And then the third disturbing thing about it is the mirror scene, which is where after she's done, having sex with him, she looks in the mirror and she does what she does. If you watch the episode, you know what I'm talking about. And this scene bothered me because it showed her grandiose ego emerging. And at that moment, you kind of know to be afraid, to be very afraid. really for the people that are dependent on her, which basically at that point in time was Ernestine, because you knew at this moment that Clara was all about Claire, and that was basically an endangerment to anybody else's security, because Clara was not going to let her security stand in the way, be overpowered by anybody else's plans or dreams. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. I'm going to keep going. So, let's see. Then the plot transitions back to Noah and Rosalie, and they're going back to the old plantation to save their mother, who they believe is still in the plantation, and her brother. Now, their plan comes to a halt when they realize that their mother is not the head mistress anymore. So they kind of just sit back and try to figure out what's going on before they continue to proceed. So while that's going on, the plot again switches back to Ernestine and Claire. And basically, Claire is telling Ernestine that she's worked it out where she has convinced the master to get Ernestine off of the island. But Ernestine has to create a poison in order to kill Ernestine's lover as a form of revenge for him killing Claire's unborn child. Yeah, I had to think about that. And of course, Ernestine struggles with this, and at first she's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But again, Claire's like, if you want off this island, you'll do it. Now, for me, I know some of you guys were like, no, she shouldn't do it. No, don't give in. Don't give in. Me, I personally didn't care. I mean, the guy that she wanted to kill off, I felt like she had every right to do it. I mean, the guy killed her unborn child and had no remorse about it after it happened. No remorse, you guys. And then he's been beating the crap out of Ernestine. I was like, I don't care. Off with his head. Off with his head. Seriously, I don't care. He is so trifling. He will not be missed. So I personally did not care that she wanted a poison to kill the man. I was like, he needs to get gone, because I can't with him. I can't with him and his character. So let's see what else. Another thing that's interesting to note about that particular scene is that you can clearly see the shift in the power. At first, Ernestine started off having the power as Claire was her protege, and she was kind of molding her into the person that she wanted to be. But then once Clara kind of got that power and started to feel herself a little bit, you could see that everybody else was going to have to take a back seat to her. So in a sense, that was really Ernestine's fault, because it's like, Ernestine, you created a monster. You really did. Like, it was like Bride of Frankenstein. So then later on, they have a conversation in the big house. I think that's what you call it. And it seems to be a casual conversation over a glass of wine, but then we soon learn that Clara is actually trying to poison Ernestine with the wine. But what I like about Ernestine is that she's always on top of her stuff. She's always one step ahead of the game. So Ernestine kind of knew what was going on, and she put something in the drink. I don't know. I can't remember what it is. Thyme and lemon. I don't know what she put in the drink, but she basically put something in it to protect herself from the poison that Claire possibly put into the drink. And what is so amazing about this is afterwards she says like the most iconic line of that episode. She says, "You want blood, but you can't have mine." I was like, yes, Ernestine. I was like, yes, you better tell her. Put her in her place. And then she just got up and walked out like a boss. I'm like, man, Ernestine's been down on her luck these last couple of episodes. She's been slipping. She's been getting high off those opiates. But, she's still as smart as a whip. And, she's still on top. Like, and so I just love that we saw kind of like that old Ernestine that we saw from season 1 coming back. So then towards the end of the episode, it switches back over to Noah and Rosa. Now by this point, Rosalie has been captured by the slave masters, and they're in the process of branding her face. Now Noah secretly creeps up on them, and he is actually about to shoot the slave masters when Rosa actually pleads with them and reveals that she's pregnant. Now, Noah is completely shocked because this is his first time learning that she's pregnant. And as a result, he decides not to shoot the guys and they end up branding her face anyway. Now, what kind of irked me about this particular scene was that was the way they chose to reveal that she was pregnant to Noah. I'm just like, I understand it had to be dramatic and it kind of had to be out there, but I'm like, why like this? And then I'm finding it very hard to believe that Noah did not know she was pregnant. I mean, I get that she wore bigger clothes, but I'm just like, come on. Come on, are you serious? Really? Really? Okay, yeah. So I'm just, that was the only thing that kind of irked me is the way they revealed that she was pregnant to Noah. And then also, the other thing I'm waiting on is to see how Daniel's plot will unfold and connect with the plot of the other cast members on the show. But I know in due time it'll get there and it'll all make sense and come together. So you guys, I am looking forward to tonight's episode. I hope you guys are too. Like this video, leave your comments below about the episode. What do you think of this episode? What do you think of the next episode? How do you think this season is progressing? Yeah, you just reach out. Let's get this discussion going. All right, well, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching my video. Have a good one.